Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Just Another Car Show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. The other day, our friend Luis told us a mechanic was going to charge him $300 to do the front brakes on his car. A lot of our friends have asked us, how do you do the brakes on your cars? And we thought we'd show you guys how to do it for a cheapo 50 bucks versus taking it to a mechanic and spending an arm and a leg. So let's get to it. So the very first thing for safety, before you start anything else, you got to make sure you chuck your back wheels and pull your e-brake. Once you've done that, we got to get to the brakes. So we got to get these wheels off. So we're going to loosen up these lug nuts, and then we're going to jack the car up. So there's a few points you can jack up the car from. We're going to do the Accord on the front, but you can also do the jack points on the sides of the car. So now that we got this car jacked up, we got to get these lug nuts off so that we can get the wheel off, because you already broke them with the breaker bar, so they all should be able to just come off by hand. Now once you get this wheel off, if you don't have jack stands like we do, you can use this wheel as another safety and place it under the car so that if anything happened with your jacks, you're going to be safe. So now we're down into the nitty-gritty of it all. We got the wheel off, and here's the brake caliper that we've been trying to get to all day. This is a Japanese brake caliper. We're also going to be showing you side by side a European car's front brake caliper, because every caliper is a little bit different and we want you to be able to change the brakes on any car. So we're loosening the lower bolt on the caliper so that we can swing the caliper up. So once you've loosened the bottom one up, you want to break the top one so that your caliper moves easily. Damn, that hurt. Now we'll pull the bottom one out all the way and push the caliper up and over. Boom, there she is. Nice.
So in this Mercedes, I had to basically take the caliper off the whole thing because it doesn't fold up because of the brake line. So we have to actually remove the whole caliper, which we just tied it up here to make sure it was not going to get in the way.
Here are our brake pads. There's one. There's two. So here's a brand new set of brake calipers. Now this one did, and most will, come with a little tube of anti-seize. So you can put this on the back of the pads as you're installing them so that you have less wear and less squeak moving forward. Not all pads are exactly the same. There is a specific set here. These ones with the clip go on the inside, and this one goes on the outside. I'm adding a little bit of anti-seize to the sides because that's where the pad sits on the rails in the caliper. So I want to make sure that that connection is nice and smooth. There you go.
So this side has these little springs that you replace. This is a brake pad wear sensor. Normally you buy new ones of these, but I don't have one because I didn't know this had it. This just slips into the pads, just like that. And then you plug the sensor in to the top of the caliper. Most European cars have these.
Now that you've got your new pads on, you'll try to swing the caliper down, and you'll notice the caliper won't go over the new pads. Why is that? Because the new pads are thicker than the old ones. That's the point, right? So you can go to AutoZone, rent one of these kits for about 60 bucks. They'll give it to you for 3 months. You take it back, they give you your money back. This toolkit is used to push the caliper piston back so that we can actually get the caliper over top of our new thick brake pads. Okay, there she is. Oh, look, you can watch it move with each turn. You can see that?
Yeah.
Sick. I think I'm probably good. Let's try that.
So another way of squeezing the caliper in is to use a big clamp like this. Basically undo it, screw it in a little bit, clamp it down again, undo it, screw it a little more, clamp it down again, and repeat this process over and over until your caliper is completely retracted.
So now that we've got the new pads on, you're just going to tighten down those 2 bolts that you just took off. There are torque specs for these bolts, but if you don't know what I'm talking about or don't care, just make them as tight as you found them. On this particular caliper, there's a secondary nut that you had to hold down while you tightened the bolt. So now that you got your new pads on and you tightened your caliper down, it's time to do it on the other side. The other side is the exact same process. So once you get to this point, you're putting your wheel back on, you're tightening these lug nuts back on. Remember to do your lug nuts in a star pattern. Once this wheel touches the ground, the very first thing you have to do is tighten these lug nuts down to factory torque specs. If you don't know the factory torque specs or don't have a torque wrench, just remember, like we did the bolts on the caliper, leave them as tight as you found them. So, one last thing you want to do for safety, before you start your car, before you drive it anywhere, you want to get in the car and pump your brake pedal like 6 times. Make sure that guy's stiff before you take it back out on the road. And now that you know how to change the brakes on any car, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and check us out on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys.